Martin, you can start by probably introducing yourself, like in 30 seconds, like who you are and what you do.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, my name is Martin. I'm originally from Argentina. I'm co-founder and CEO of PAGO46, an unconventional payment network connecting emerging markets. Bit more about my history. I'm passionate about soccer sports in general, River and Barcelona. I live in Barcelona. I travel across the world. I spent almost 10 years between Barcelona, Madrid, New York, Los
Nice.
Angeles, and Buenos Aires.
Okay.
Yeah, most of my career, passionate about media, entertainment, and technology in general.
Okay. Okay. And you're COO of Pago 46 or Pago 46. What
Yeah.
does your role entails in the business?
Uh, in an overly simplified way, I like to say making sure nothing falls through the cracks and that the plan is being executed.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
that's what how I would define it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you manage, let's say, a team and you make sure that stuff is done. VS Garland, which is the CEO, how would you differentiate like both of your roles in the business?
Yeah. So Garland, who is my co-founder in this venture, he's a lot more focused, for instance, in dealing with the technology piece
Okay,
of the equation.
okay,
So most of my focus is on the day-to-day operations, setting the strategy, and making sure that we execute towards that plan.
okay, okay. And explain to me in your own words about Pago 46 because my understanding, like initially, I was a bit confused as per like what it was doing, but I kind of understood like the value of it, which is that basically if I don't have a credit card, say I'm a Mexican mother and I'm like I don't know, I'm 56 and I still don't have a credit card for whatever reason, probably because I don't have a good enough credit score or whatever. I just use the app Pago for 46. I pay them and you guys provide like the credit card so that I can buy whatever online. Is that it, or can you explain a bit more about it?
Yeah. You're basically doing a good summary. So yeah, a bit unconventional, but the thing is we take this for granted. I mean, you put your 16-digit credit card into a website or application when you're trying to buy or subscribe to a given service or buy something online,
Mhm.
and truth of the matter is more than 50% of Latin Americans don't have a credit card.
It's
All
huge.
of these economies are mostly cash-based. You're talking a region of over 500 million population, and that leaves a vast untapped addressable market for a lot of tech companies and e-commerce companies, basically anyone that sells or offers anything online. And that's the problem we're going after, connecting the digital economy to unbanked or sub-bank users in the region, and making sure they have a more convenient way to pay with their cash. And that implies hitting a payment button and basically requesting someone to go to your doorstep to collect that cash. So you can basically now pay online without leaving your home in 30 minutes.
Okay. I got a couple of follow-up questions here. So, like, I want to know why, like, more than, let's say, 40%, did you say like 50% don't have a credit card? Was that the
Yeah,
statistic there? So
yeah.
why is that? Is it because of the economic infrastructure of the country, which is poor? Because, in Canada, even low-income people have access to credit cards. So I want to know why that's the case. And is that in whole LATAM or would it be in only, say, Mexico or Peru?
Well, Mexico is actually even worse. It's like 30% of the country has a bank account. Only 30% of the population in
Holy
that country.
moly.
And then you have on the other side of the spectrum countries like Chile that over 70% of the population has a bank account, right?
Yeah.
So, but the story, I think different stories, but we encounter the same patterns across all these economies. One has to do with traditional legacy businesses, how they were built, and basically you have a banking system that before this new fintech wave and new startups, banks just focused on giving credit to consumers that had credit history and that had certain income, right?
Okay.
So um, it's basically fighting for the same share of the pie amongst all the banks. And that basically, it's a pattern that we recognize across most of the countries.
Mhm.
The second one, it does have to do with a bit of income inequality and acquisition, disposable income, in which for traditional incumbent companies, it was tough to make a viable business out of serving lower end, basically low income segments of the population.
Okay.
And now, when you start fresh without any strings attached, your cost base is significantly diminished by technology, and that allows you to find a viable business model to
Mhm.
serve low income segments of the population with
Mhm.
a good ROI.
Okay.
So that also, I think, opened the door. And the third pattern that we see in the region is the informality. With
Okay.
different degrees, a lot of all the countries in the region have some kind of informal economies,
Okay.
um, either because of high taxes, corporate taxes, or labor laws that create incentives for companies and sectors to operate out of informality. So that keeps also cash as a very prominent way of getting paid.
Yeah, like you said, like we take this for granted. I just cannot wrap my mind as like a, like say a middle class, higher class Caucasian, to the fact that people still don't have bank accounts in 2021. Would that also be due to trust? Like they have problems like trusting, and they keep all their cash under their mattress?
Certainly, certainly. That's the story of the region. A lot of countries face different crises in the last 50, 60, 100 years.
Mhm.
So the credibility in general with the financial institutions and with the central banks of each country is somewhat diminished. And that also creates incentives, that lack of trust for people to hold into their cash and literally pile that cash underneath their mattresses at home.
Hmm.
So yeah.
It's so interesting to think about the reality of like other human beings. Let's take like Mexico as an example. I'm in Oaxaca, Mexico right now. There's a lot of street vendors, right? So I'm wondering like what is their reality? Do they have a house or do they rent? Like because if they have a house, they have credit history. Do like most of the poor people as per se have houses, or do they rent and have like really zero credit in the end?
Yeah, I mean, you have both cases. More people rent, of course, and but you have an influx of a lot of venture capital into the region. Also, improve the quality of the management teams in the region, and that I think created good conditions for new companies to start fresh. Yeah, a lot of startups, particularly focusing in Mexico, that we remove Brazil, it is the largest market in the region.
Yeah.
So a lot of fintech companies trying different things, different models, now accessing this type of users in the region. So I think that will change. That will change soon. I mean, we're going to start seeing more adoption of banking and financial services, particularly in the lower income segment of the population,
Mhm.
pushed by these fintech companies.
And like the funny thing here is, coming back to my example, the street vendor, he might not have a house, but he does have a smartphone, right?
He has a
And
smartphone and has a revenue stream.
okay, and that's where you come in. I'm not sure how to ask this question, but do they have the sufficient education to actually go and use your app? Like I don't know how to ask that. Are they tech savvy enough to use Pago 46 if they don't have a bank account. I'm not sure how to put that, but it's weird to me that they don't even have a bank account, but they would go in the app store and download your app. What do you think, and how would you reach them marketing wise so that they can download the app?
Yeah. So yeah, we're seeing that digital savviness is there. If you want this kind of like this leapfrog type of phenomenon, in which what you just described, the fact that they didn't have a bank account doesn't mean that they're not their digital education is not strong enough to be
Okay.
able to navigate an app store and use the app. You
Okay.
said over 100, we over-index in the penetration of phones in the region,
Yeah.
right? Over 100%. And yeah, that those phones are becoming increasingly smart, so the penetration of smartphones it's also increasing.
Mm.
So and yeah, the devices are cheap, and users. The challenge I think is more from the company's standpoint to
Mm.
make it really easy to use and understand.
Yeah.
But we're seeing that cascade across. The technology and the smartphone, the good thing is it doesn't discriminate between income levels. Basically anyone has access to smartphones. They're pretty cheap these days, also to get a data line, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah.
doorway to the digital economy.
Yeah, and these guys use WhatsApp, Facebook ads. So like,
Yeah,
do you market to them on those platforms? How do you reach them for them to
yeah,
actually download the app? I would guess YouTube too, YouTube ads, right?
exactly. Yeah, so it's a lot about digital marketing, and then trying to find network effects, basically within communities, groups, and also creating that type of community feeling
Okay.
or belongingness.
Mm.
In our model in particular, once users start enjoying the benefits of our service, the referral channel is very important as well. So if you have a friend that refers the app to you, that it's easy to acquire a new user and educate that user that way, that through a cold type of traditional digital marketing campaign.
Yeah, yeah. I would guess that, like, since you guys are a platform, there's people that bring the money, and that there's the people that there's the people that give the money to the actual Pago 46er. I think that you call them like that. So the people that go to their door to actually give them the to take the money and give them the credit card if you want. Or give them the payment, actually, because it's a button. So they click on the button, the payment is made, and then the Pago person comes. How do you recruit those people? And I would guess that they're slightly different profiles. Is it fair to say that the Pago 46 clients are more lower class, and the Pago 46ers, the people that actually get the money to their door, are they like more middle class? Like, how do you reach them, and what is the profile, the the profile of the person that actually comes to the door to get the money?
Yeah. So yeah, we call them 46ers, and yeah, there are those imbalances in the region that you also see actually when you get on an Uber, or where when you ever you order food from any of the delivery apps. And yeah, in our case, the community of 46ers, I would say, we help them through the onboarding. We provide tools, tips for them to be able to make money on their terms easily with our service.
Mhm.
And yeah, we're seeing a lot of our 46ers are also gig economy participants. So they basically either also use Uber,
Okay.
Rappi, other
Yeah.
apps to make money, and Pago 46 provides a complementary revenue stream for those users. So most of our community of users comes from that gig economy workforce in the region.
Isn't Rappi and Uber getting in those same markets? Because I know that on Rappi I can order money, right? So I can pay them with my credit card, which is not the same as you guys, and they bring me money. Do you think that they will get in the same market as Pago 46?
Yeah, I mean, from a technology standpoint, there's nothing sacred there. Anyone can step into any other business today in terms of, I think, financial services and
Mm.
technology in general converges a lot of different sectors into platforms.
Yeah.
So I certainly see other players have the abilities to provide similar services. For us, it's all about focusing on just one use case and executing and doing it extremely well,
Okay.
providing the best service, and doing this across the entire region. Which also it's a lengthy process. It takes time. Each country is its own different
Correct.
universe
Yeah.
and reality, and you need to face with those things as you build a business.
So, in what are your core focus in terms of countries right now? What countries are you into right now?
So yeah, the company is operational in Argentina, Chile, Ecuador, Mexico. We're launching Peru. Our plan is to expand to most of the Spanish-speaking Latin America region throughout the end of this year.
Mhm.
Basically cover over 70% of the population with our service ability. So that's where we're going this year.
Okay, and that's a lot of countries, and like you said, each country is a quiz slash a puzzle of his own. So how how do you make sure to have a good impact in each of those countries? Like it must be pretty complicated to be in 6 7 countries. What is your plan? Do you want to max out one country and go after the other? What type of market penetration do you want to reach in one country before going to another?
Yeah. So look, we feel there's an opportunity to basically connect the entire region with this payment infrastructure and this convenient service.
Mhm.
Um, and in terms of more your second part of the equation of the question, what we see more than penetration, we make sure that the marketplace is working, that we have the capacity to offer our service to certain degree with certain service level expectations to our merchants. And
Mhm.
once we kind of hit that threshold in that market,
Mhm.
then we move on to the next challenges. But it's complex. I mean, the thing, you can grow your business by launching new territories while also double down within key markets and key countries. And we're basically executing on both fronts, growing within markets and paving the way to be able to launch our service across the entire region.
Because if we take Uber, for example, it takes humongous quantities of capital to do that, no?
Yeah. Yeah, so and I was there. I was a former general manager at Uber
Yeah,
a couple of years ago. So yeah, I lived a bit through that hectic expansion. Uber was insane. I mean, what Travis built, they're incredible. Launched it between 2014 and 16. I think those 2 years, Uber launched a new city every 3 days,
that's
and
crazy.
basically we went just from a handful of countries to over 45 countries.
Yeah,
So
and their strategy was like a manager per city, right?
yeah. Yeah. So it's a new country every 2 weeks across 2 years, right? Give or
Yeah,
take. That's incredible. And so yeah, look, we're taking some cues from that playbook, but also we have a business model that is scalable. That as any other kind of tech company, technology is pretty much the same for all the countries. So you just need to know the lay of the land within each country and really understand the market. And basically, from a financial standpoint, we're very disciplined, and we have the resources we need to move forward with this expansion.
And who's in charge of getting the capital? Who's in charge of raising the capital? Is it yours, is it Garland, or another team member?
Yeah, yeah, look, that's a team effort. It's basically the founders, Garna, myself, our CFO, Andres, entire team. We worked together late last year to put the round together.
Okay.
So yeah, it's basically a team effort.
Are you guys raising right now, or
No, actually, we just closed our Series A. So now it's all about execution, continue the growth trajectory, delivering on the plan, and I think by sometime early next year we'll assess to go for a new fundraise depending on the plan and our capital needs at that point in time.
okay? Let's come back to the expansion part of things and Uber. We know that Uber like promoted a general manager per every city, and obviously Uber is a bit different as they were tackling like directly the taxis union, which were ferocious, and they had a whole bunch of lobbyists. My first question is, do you think that PAGO46 will face as much adversity as Uber did in terms of legality and lobbyism?
Look, you need to focus on what you can control. We cannot control regulation. What we believe at the end of the day is as long as you're providing value to consumers, as long as you're providing value to the population in general, there's something there.
Okay.
So um, tough question. Don't know if that's the answer you were looking for, but
Well, I would tend to think that no, there's like way less regulation when it comes to someone actually bringing you money. Well, as someone using someone's credit card, that's not illegal.
yeah,
Um,
look, and that has been the case up to this point. So knock on wood, right? Typically in the countries you operate, you haven't seen any regulation applying to our business model. Um, but those things can change
yeah,
rapidly. So we're just focusing on what we can control, and that's providing service to our users, providing service to our customers, and basically as long as we keep on doing that, we feel we're on the right path.
yeah.
Yeah, so
And I mean, you can pivot if that ever changes. I mean, if in the eventuality that this change, it would be kind of big banks, kind of lobbying for that not to happen so that they can have more credit card users. But in the end, they are the one that refuse those credit card users, I guess. Um, and my second question related to that is like coming back to Uber's strategy to promote like one manager per city. Is that the strategies that you guys use right now, and do you think it is useful?
we it's a mixed strategy. Personally, I've always liked more kind of how the team at Airbnb scale their company.
Okay.
They made their service available also across tens of countries with very limited headcount in each country, right? If you look at Latin America region, Airbnb didn't have a strong headcount organization as Uber.
Mhm.
And yeah, Uber, you have a driver opening the door to a passenger, while Airbnb is actually someone opened the door of his home to a stranger as well.
Yeah.
And they were able to get away with it with probably a lot less headcount, basically, less boots on in the ground. So for our business, I say we're kind of in between those two models.
Okay.
When wherever we see talent, we want top talent to work with us and come, build this payment infrastructure with us, regardless of the boundaries, geographic boundaries, and where they're based. 2 and a half years ago, we took this decision with Garland was basically going full remote.
Okay.
Uh,
Good
then COVID
decision.
came, basically even reinforced more that mentality that we had for us, regardless of the location.
Okay.
As long as they know the markets they need to operate in, that's fine.
Okay, okay. Let's shift gears and ask you, Martin, like a couple of questions, and like apart from Pago46, because
Yeah.
I believe like the co-founders, well, the business are reflections of their co-founders for sure. So let's talk about like your best wins of 2021 and your greatest losses. So you can start with say the loss, that your greatest failure in 2021 and what you learned from it, and then follow up with your greatest win of 2021.
So loss on 2021. Look, I feel like probably like a lot of other people, the loss of actually, spending more close interactions with other human beings, as
Yeah.
crazy as it sounds, but,
Hmm.
I miss some of the travels. I miss being in countries when we launch a country, being face to face with the team every once in a while, and also personal relationships.
Yeah.
So I think that's a loss that we've been bearing for the past 14, 16 months.
Yeah.
And it's accumulating, but already seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And look, in terms of wins, extremely optimistic about the opportunity in general. With Pago, we closed our Series A. We're seeing a lot of talent in the region that we want to have them come to work with us, join us in this venture. With a lot of opportunities in the financial services industries, right, for disruption. So I'll take that as a win. And personally, I just moved to a new home, so that's also a win, a project that I was working past couple of months. Yeah.
Cool. Pretty cool. At what time do you get up usually, and at what time do you go to bed?
Usually, I'm not a morning person. Like 7:30
Okay.
a.m.
Okay.
That's where my routine starts. Sometimes with a run, sometimes just spending some time with the kids and
Okay.
breakfast and getting the day going.
Hmm.
Go to bed midnight, 1 a.m. basically.
Okay. So
My
like six
best work
hours of
comes at
sleep.
night. Yeah,
Okay.
6, 7 hours sleep, and that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. And do you stop working after supper, or do you just keep on going?
Depends. Again, most of my best work I tend to do it afternoons and nights. But I certainly don't expect that from the team. So try to respect, of course, boundaries.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't have a rule around that.
Okay.
So just enjoying. I mean, I enjoy what I do. So, if there's something I cannot get out of my mind, I just want to go for it and basically not leave it for tomorrow.
Do you work on weekends or do you take a break?
Now, weekends, yeah, I try to balance there, spend time with the family. But also it's good, save, an hour, 2 hours to basically, organize your head, organize your thoughts, plan for the week. Also
I
take those
agree.
moments on Sunday.
I tend to plan out my weekends too. I think this is a cool thing to do. Are you using a calendar to plan your day?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And actually, yeah, I was just going through a coaching session on basically unleashing roughly 6 to 10 hours per week just by following some simple tips. Making sure separating the urgence from the importance and
Yeah.
making sure you don't lose sight of what's important.
Yeah, yeah, obviously, because the urgent, I mean, that's what triggers the cortisol in the brain, and that's what triggers action. Not only does it
Yeah,
messes up your day, but it also like takes over the important stuff that really needs to get done, and stuff
yeah,
that if you get done, you will get like massive value in the future. And yeah, like I've been also like planning my weekends in the terms of what I want to get done during the weekend. And get done is not really the word, but it's because I believe we've got like two types of brain. We've got the planning brain and the execution brain. And the execution brain doesn't really think, he just executes.
yeah,
And to not miss out on stuff that I want to do, stuff that is on my bucket list. I love like sitting down probably on Fridays or even Saturdays, opening my computer, but only to plan like what I will do today and what habit will I do to kind of energize myself, you know? Um, Talking about that, do you have some habits that you have that give you energy throughout the day, whether it is on the weekdays or on weekends?
Run, go out for a run, 5K, 10K,
Nice.
at least 2, 3 times per week.
Okay.
Keep in shape, and I get a lot of energy and the thinking part of the brain going whenever you're on a 30, 60-minute run.
Hmm.
So certainly that, spend time with the family, and read occasionally,
Okay.
also book comic books as well, where we have a bunch of geeks here at Pago, a lot of comic book lovers. Actually, all of our systems are named after a superhero.
Hey,
uh, um,
love it.
so yeah, you should, just read, enjoy music a lot, play music, and listen to music, and go
Nice.
for active runs.
So for the run, my first marathon ever was actually a half marathon. Was in Buenos Aires. Do you have any plans to actually do the Buenos Aires marathon?
No, no, but we're looking. A friend of mine is, has my ear to go to the south, cross the Patagonia. So basically, cross the mountains from Argentina to Chile. That's a 3-day run. Of basically, I think it's like 60, 70 kilometers that you need to take care of in 3 days.
Wow.
And you cross from one country to the other through the mountain range. So
Hmm.
uh, pretty awesome run. I think it's November, so basically planning
Epic.
towards that one. Yeah.
Epic stuff. When I think of those mountains, I keep thinking of I think it was the rugby team that their plane crashed in the mountains and they had to
Yeah,
survive for like two weeks or something like that. But I guess it's different, and I guess it's the part where there's no snow, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
All
so
right,
it's a great run. I mean, 3 days, you get to rest in between the days. You see all the mountains.
the nature.
So the scenery is great. Yeah.
Awesome. Talking about music, what type of music do you listen to? Well, first, let's take it that way. Do you listen to music when you work?
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
type of music do you listen to while you work?
Um, Typically alternative music, what is defined today more as indie rock, but in general, I like music in general. But being a kid from the '90s, I have to say Nirvana, Green Day, No
Oh yeah.
Effects, like all the California punk rock wave that came in the '90s, also, and as an Argentine, the Ramones. I mean, those guys, pretty fond of those guys. But in general, yeah, alternative music, indie rock. Yeah.
Do you like Federico Obele?
No, no, actually, haven't heard of him.
He's actually, I would highly refer him to you.
Yeah.
He's an electronic artist from Argentina, and his CD, his album, um, what was it again? I think it was Hotel. Let me just get that. Federico Obele. It's a Grand Hotel, Buenos Aires. I will send you the link after we're done.
Yeah.
Epic music is like guitar mixed with electronic, and my parents used to listen to this guy when we were younger. And Tim Ferriss, that stayed in
Mm.
Buenos Aires for a while, reminded me of this guy. I think 2 years ago when I was in Argentina, and I mean this is like so Buenos Aires. So I will send you the link after we're done.
Send it, sure. Yeah,
And let's
yeah.
finish this up because I know you're busy. I just wanted to know, like, related to books, what top books are you reading right now, or what top books have you been reading in the past and that you would recommend to our listeners?
Well, just to finish on music, I read Meet Me in the Bathroom. That is basically a really well-written book that explains all the scene of the Strokes, and then went what the Strokes ushered, and basically that period of 2000, 2010, those 10 years where New York was back at the center of the music scene, with bands such as Interpol and other bands. And that book, I loved it. I like chew on it in just a week. And now I spent a lot of time in New York in those years. And yeah, I got to see a lot of those acts when they were doing Mercury Lounge and all that. So fun read, but more from things I got out more from a business. Outsiders, great book of top 8
Malcolm
CEOs
Gladwell.
that basically made their mark.
Yeah,
You're talking legends like Dr. John Malone and other top CEOs that are portrayed in that book, and how they achieve, what are the metrics they focus on. And then this book by Derek Thompson about hit makers. So basically, a lot of good stories on how companies go viral, focusing on good use cases and what makes something go viral. I think that was a really good read as well.
hmm. Interesting. I knew about the Outliers one. It was one of the first book I read when I started my entrepreneurial journey. And Hit Makers, I'll definitely have a look at it. I didn't know it. Um, Last but not least, to finish, what would you tell the younger Martin that had 20 years old at the time? What would you advise him to do or not to do?
Yeah, I would advise him to basically believe in his capacity. Things are way more simpler than what he thought at that point in time. Um, and it's up to you to make a difference, basically. So
Love it.
encourage him to do, to feel more empowered to do things.
Love it. Yeah, I think that, the hardest part in anything in life is just starting. And once you start, it becomes easy. I think we tend to overthink stuff, and that's a really good lesson. So, hey, Martin, I know you're busy, so I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Manage your team and everything. Thank you for coming to the pod, and we'll be in touch, all right?
Yeah, thanks, Charles.
Peace. Bye.